Welcome to another edition of The Ride Home with John and Kathy, live from the Salem Pittsburgh studios. And now here are your hosts, John Hall and Kathy Emmons.
It's perfect. Absolutely perfect outside today. This is is this the peak of the season? Although the leaves
certainly seems the leaves have not turned that much.
At least in the city.
Yeah, you're right. I was out today and there's a lot more. It's 90-10. Green to non-green at this point.
How's your trees in your backyard?
Beautiful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not 90-10 in my yard.
Mm-hmm. They're falling, though, aren't they?
They are falling, but most of all, they're just really, right now, they're just really, really beautiful.
Yeah. I was sitting out in the backyard yesterday consoling myself during the Steeler game, and there was a brisk wind, and these beautiful yellow leaves were falling down.
Falling down. And there's sunshine behind them, right?
Just so lovely, yeah. Just really beautiful.
I really love that. Mm-hmm. I was walking along the North Shore this morning, and the way the sunlight was hitting, there was like a nice canopy of goldenness.
Lovely.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
With the blue sky that only happens in the fall.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
If you have a chance to get out today, take us with you.
Yeah. Anyway, happy Monday to you. Glad that you're with us here today. How was your weekend?
It was very nice, John. I stayed homebound for most of the time.
I did too.
Did you?
Happily. I was very happy to be home.
I did a lot of cooking this weekend.
Nice.
Was
Good.
very enjoyable.
Anything of note?
Thank you for asking. I made 4 loaves of pumpkin bread.
Oh.
Which was very delicious. And I made...
You didn't eat 4 loaves. You did not eat 4 loaves of pumpkin.
No, but we ate 2.
Just the 2 of you?
No, 3 of us.
Okay, good.
It's very, very, very good.
I'm sure. All right.
And it seems bigger in the pan. When you actually, kind of pop it out and look at it, you're like, well, that's not very much.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
How many slices? Per loaf? 10?
10, probably.
I mean, you could do 2 and feel good about yourself.
2? I do 4. I'm not even bothering.
Anything on that? Like cream or whipped cream or nothing?
No, it needs nothing.
Okay, fabulous.
And especially when you know what's in it, you don't want to put anything on it.
Right.
There's enough in there that it doesn't need a topping.
Of course not.
Yeah. And then I made 16-bean pasta fajoule on Saturday for dinner.
Did you, though? Pasta fajoule.
I counted all the little beans. I didn't count all the beans. 16 beans.
Excellent.
You can buy that mix. Have you seen the 16 bean mix? Did you know there were 16 beans?
I did not. No,
I didn't either until I bought the 16 bean mix. But
yesterday, my wife made beef stew. Oh my gosh.
Is that a delicious thing?
Well, she got a little late. She got a little late start on it. We were eating at 9:30. I ate 2 gigantic bowls because I was so hungry.
Sure, of course.
It's delicious. Looking forward to it later on today.
Now, do you eat a roll and butter with that?
Yes.
Okay, you have to. You have to dip.
Of course.
Because that's delicious.
Swirl it in
and
there.
And then clean the bowl when you're done. I love that so
Fabulous.
much.
Life is good. It's autumn in Pittsburgh.
Exactly.
The Steelers notwithstanding.
Exactly.
All right. Anyway, busy news day, of course, as always. Kath, you present to us, please, without further ado, the top 4 at 4.
For Monday, October 10th, 2022, John, that's today.
The 10th.
Number 1. Waves of Russian missiles slammed into Kyiv and other Ukrainian cities today in one of the broadest, most intense barrages of the war in response to Ukraine taking that bridge out in Crimea. Ukrainian Vice President Zelensky said Russia had carried out dozens of strikes using missiles as well as Iranian-made drones to target the country's electrical grid and other civilian infrastructure. According to the Wall Street Journal today, he said, quote, "They want to destroy our energy system and they want panic and chaos." Number 2. Luxury shops across the city of Paris are turning off their nighttime lights. Did you read about this today?
I did not.
So in an effort to save energy, John, the French president has decreed that they will be observing, quote, energy sobriety.
Good.
The government has asked municipalities, households, and companies to reduce their energy consumption by 10% over 2 years to counter Russia's decision to cut the flow of natural gas to Europe. Okay, so what that means for people who are traveling to Europe, which, believe me, I'd like to do any time because I've never been there, is all the lights in public get turned off at 10 p.m.
I think it's good. Look, remember the energy crisis of the 70s? We turned off all the lights. Now you drive around, everyone, office towers, this building, there's lights on everywhere.
All right. I get that. I'm not saying that we need to leave all the lights on in every office, but if you live in Paris, or if I'm traveling to Paris, and the whole city turns off at 10 p.m., that is tragic. It's the city of lights.
I get it.
Are you not mourning over that?
No, I'm not. No. I'm not going to Paris anytime soon. So.
What? So you don't care about the people who are?
The
Eiffel Tower's lights will turn off at 11:45.
Okay.
So everything. But if you go to the Louvre, the lights are off at 10.
Yeah.
So you want to see the beautiful glass. It's dark.
It's time to go to bed.
You don't.
Just go to sleep.
Oh, for crying out loud!
Get it. We'll see in the morning.
Number 3. A boy ran onto the field and was tackled hard by a security guard in the second quarter of Tampa Bay's game against Atlanta yesterday.
A boy up to that?
Listen to this. A woman who identified herself as the child's mother told the AP that the boy is 10 years old, and of course she's upset that he got tackled by the police.
Of course.
Like that he was treated so unfairly.
She allowed him to do that.
He's a child. I mean, how dare you? I mean, get out of here. Come on.
Go ahead. Go play.
Look, if you go out on a football field, what do you think is going to happen?
Exactly.
Remember, I don't know if you saw last Monday night's game.
Flying around with a pink smoke.
So the San Francisco 49ers, they were playing a home game against LA. Anyway, someone ran out onto the field, and Rams linebacker Bobby Wagner just completely flattened him, just like ruined the man.
As was wont to do.
That's what should happen if you go out onto an NFL football field.
So they should ban the kid and the mom.
Exactly. I'm glad we agree on that.
Thank you.
Number 4. Sunday's 38-3 defeat in Buffalo.
Who?
On behalf of the Steelers was so tragic that I couldn't even watch the fourth quarter.
Why?
It was just too much pain. I had to exit the room and pretend it wasn't happening. And that is your top 4 at 4.
Yep. Yeah, at halftime, I went out for a walk. The streets were clogged with people who were like-minded.
Exactly. The Steelers yielded, in case you were wondering, I have a couple stats for you I'd like to share.
Why?
552 total yards in offense is what they gave up. Josh Allen had 14 completions for 348 yards and 4 touchdowns. Wait for it. In the first half. He ended up with 424 yards, and before they, sat him down and put Case Keenum in.
Right.
That was really, really depressing.
Sure was.
Yeah. We got 54 running yards total for the game on 17 carries.
Najee.
That's pretty bad. Deontay Johnson dropped a couple balls. Chase Claypool, I don't know what he's doing. Pickett got sacked 3 times, threw an interception, no touchdowns. He tried 52 passes, completed 34 for 327 yards.
Okay. Is that it?
There was no touchdown drive, in case you were wondering.
3 points.
I think we've scored, I want to say, 7 touchdowns in 5 games, and not one of those touchdowns was caught by a wide receiver.
In the meantime, while that was going on, I got the Steeler chant stuck in my head. Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl.
Okay, well,
here we go.
Yeah, you should get some medication to get that out.
Seriously.
5 for 18 on 3rd and 4th downs.
Not good. It's a team that stinks, does it not?
Terrible. Absolutely wretched. I can't believe you're not more upset about going to Paris and having it dark.
It's nighttime. I mean, I'll get from like 6 o'clock until 10 o'clock. I feel good. And then I'm going to bed. That's time to wait.
When you're going to bed.
I'm sleepy.
Get out of here.
101.5 WORD.
Next time on PowerPoint with Jack Graham.
We are to pray that the will of God be done. The prayer life of the believer is not twisting God's arm, but rather it is adjusting our will to the will of God.
Tune in next time for PowerPoint with Jack Graham.
PowerPoint tonight at 9:30 on 101.5 WORD.
From Kingstone Studios, no vacancy. An incredible true story comes to Salem now.
Now they want to purchase a motel and turn it into a shelter for homeless families.
A demoted journalist, a recovering addict, and a pastor fighting for the homeless find themselves at the end of hope.
I got 45 signatures right here, Mayor, against this proposal from my neighborhood. Let's stop this!
It's like the grapes of wrath.
Starring T.C. Stallings, Sean Young, and Dean Cain.
Feed the hungry and house the homeless. That's what we're supposed to do.
It means you have tenants. You're going to have them leave today, or I'm going to terminate your lease.
You didn't want to do this piece.
things change. You have to run it tomorrow.
No, not a chance.
The nicest thing anybody ever done for me.
Streaming now. Find it at salemnow.com.
Welcome to Hope.
When we think of those in ministry, we often think of our pastor or our church elder, but there's another person whose role is essential. It's the wife of the pastor or elder. Women who serve alongside their husbands also experience the challenges, joys, and disappointments that are part of the job. The book Partners in the Gospel offers a daily dose of encouragement. Request your copy at truthforlife.org/donate.
Bachman's Roofing and Solar is your local award-winning roofer. Stop waiting. It's time to inspect your roof and protect your home's #1 asset. With no interest and no payment financing for 12 months, Bachman's Roofing is your easy choice for roofing, gutters, and solar. Did you know Bachman's Roofing is one of the #1 GAF solar integrated roofing installers in the USA? Go with Bachman's. Go with solar and install the roof that pays for itself. Call 412-744-8390 or visit bachmansroofing.com.
What is a warrior? At Portersville Christian School, it's more than a team name. A warrior is taught to serve, to passionately model the love of Christ toward neighbor, community, and world. To learn as they cultivate academic excellence and a lifelong love of learning from kindergarten to senior year. And to lead through Christian character and integrity. Are you a warrior? Discover Portersville Christian School just 15 minutes north of Cranberry, where warriors are made at ourpcs.org.
Always the first guest of the week is Greg Clugston. Greg Clugston is the SRN News White House correspondent, live from the nation's capital. Hey, Greg, happy Monday. Good to see you.
John, hey, good to be here. Nice to be here with you too, Kathy.
Well, we're always glad to see you, Greg. We're going to talk about the important stuff before I ask you a truly ridiculous story at the conclusion of our time together.
But how about that? Nothing says Monday like Greg Clugston.
No, I know.
Which is really kind of like a backslap, isn't it, Greg?
Yeah, I mean, Monday is such a favorite day of everybody.
I appreciate
You make our Mondays.
Exactly. I would be in despair on Mondays were it not for Greg Clugston.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we saw the news today in every major news outlet that Russia has increased its barrage of Ukraine after Ukraine took that vital bridge out in the Crimea area. Tell us how the White House is responding to what we know.
Yeah, the president issued a statement earlier today, obviously condemning this activity, the latest barrage, and what really has been a retaliation that we haven't seen in terms of the intensity and the ferocity of these missile strikes, not only in the capital of Kiev, but in other major cities around Ukraine as well. So there, as we've been reporting, and as you and your listeners have been hearing and reading in the news in the last few weeks, that this counteroffensive by the Ukrainian military has been quite successful in many areas. And then that hitting that critical bridge in the last few days, and that has really angered Moscow and Vladimir Putin, vowing to really step it up a notch. He's describing Ukraine's resistance to Russia, and I'm talking about Putin here. He's describing Ukraine's resistance as terrorist activity because he believes that Ukraine is Russian territory. And this comes after, annexing 4 regions of Ukraine through what many thought were, false election proceedings here just a few days ago. Right. So this has really stepped up. The UN officials at the United Nations are talking about what to do about this next. And also the G7 leaders are going to be meeting, I think, in a conference call tomorrow. So these latest actions have caught the attention of world leaders.
Yeah. I mean, Greg, it's really scary. I mean, people are throwing around nuclear bombs kind of like, oh, yeah, nuclear this, nuclear that. Like it's a distinct possibility. Like this may be something that will happen soon and very soon. I mean, I'm sure the Biden administration is talking about this as well, but it's been a long time since you've heard some kind of saber rattling like this.
No, you're absolutely right. We had the White House saying last week that despite the nuclear threats that we're hearing from Vladimir Putin, the United States has not changed its nuclear posture, at least not now, not yet. And obviously, hopefully, people are hoping that doesn't that's not necessary.
Yeah.
The president was talking to some members at an audience at a fundraiser late last week, and he said that the nuclear threat is at its highest level since the Cuban Missile Crisis during the Kennedy administration. So yes, we haven't seen something like this, John, in some time, and it is rattling nerves.
Yes.
And Putin has said that he's not bluffing. So we'll have to see what, if anything, comes next.
Mm-hmm.
On the domestic front, it looks like the election is 4 weeks away, which anyone knows, of course, who tries to play a YouTube clip, because
Can't be soon enough.
Honestly, I can't bear another local ad.
I'm getting texts. Are you getting texts?
I'm getting texts. I just got a call here while Greg was coming on the air, urging me to vote for somebody. I don't know who. How are things looking for the president? How involved is he going to be over the next month?
Well, he has stepped up his fundraising activity and his travel. Of course, he made travel early last week to both Puerto Rico and Florida following the hurricanes down in that region. And so that kept him, off of, doing more other domestic and also political activities. But the White House has said that he's going to be active between now and the midterms, and the election day is 4 weeks from tomorrow. So we expect him to be doing quite a bit of traveling, maybe even some repeat visits to battleground states. Obviously, you there in Pennsylvania, that's one reason why you're getting a lot of these ads and calls and pop-ups and all the rest, because you are in a state that has a couple of pivotal races going on, whether it's for governor or for the U.S. Senate. And so there are a handful of these states around the country, including Arizona, that a lot of people are looking at, and Nevada. Georgia is another one. So these are some of the key races that folks are keeping an eye on. The president and the White House, they had really been encouraged by the falling gas prices, for, several weeks, going on 3 months in a row. But over these last couple of weeks now, the gas prices have been ticking up. The OPEC oil prices, oil production is going to be slashed, which means that could be higher prices. So in this next month, we'll have to see if that changes voters' attitudes as to what their priority issues are, whether it's about the economy, whether it's about abortion or something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Greg, I'm glad you brought up OPEC. I mean, the famous photo op of the president fist bumping the Saudi crown prince did not go as he had planned. So it looks as though, along with Europe, of course, because of Russia and because of the reduction of at least 2% from OPEC, all of us are going to pay more at the pump. And, of course, heating cost as winter's about to kick in.
Sure. The White House, has been quick from the very beginning to pin the blame on the rising gas prices on Russia's attack against Ukraine. And while that certainly has had an effect on global market prices, a lot of Republicans and others would argue that other energy policies embraced by this Biden administration have really, contributed to rising gas prices. And of course, when those prices were coming down here late summer into the early part of September, the White House was cheering every day, down another 1 or 2 or 3 cents a gallon. Right. But the White House has been quiet here for the last couple of weeks, and they still know that this is an economy that is sort of complex. You've got good news when it comes to job creation, but bad news when it comes to inflation. And inflation is what really hits home for a lot of people when they're trying to obviously pay their bills every month. And the White House knows that, and that's going to be, the economy is going to continue to be a big factor as we head toward the midterm elections.
SRN News White House correspondent Greg Clugston with us in his normal Monday slot, except the only thing about news is that it's never normal. Another thing I've noticed over the last couple days as we kind of gear up for the election are the number of stories on major news sites about abortion being a major factor in the race. There was an article today. I could not believe the length of it in today's Washington Post about the quote-unquote danger of Catholic hospitals and how terrible medical care they're handing out because of their restrictive religious stand on certain issues. I mean, it should have been on the opinion page. It was somehow classified as reporting, but it's just one story of many. And so I'm wondering if there's any awareness or any, I don't know if people are keeping track of numbers in the nation's capital about how many races are being influenced by that issue.
Yeah, Kathy, I'm not sure if there's a list of how many specific races where that's an issue. We do know that it is an issue in a lot of races. The White House has made this a key talking point The president has been meeting with officials often when he travels, and then when they come here to Washington, they'll meet with him at the White House. Somebody who has been a very particular key point person on this for the administration has been Vice President Harris, and she has made an effort to travel to many states to talk to a lot of key shareholders that share the administration's view on abortion access. And so that's been a real heavy effort by this administration, and that feeds to the campaigns and to the Democratic Party in terms of getting that message out for all of these various elections. What's interesting is I saw a quote over the weekend or earlier today from longtime Democratic strategist James Carville, and he was cautioning, if not warning, his fellow Democrats not to put all their eggs in the basket of the abortion issue. He said, yes, it is an issue, but you can't just say abortion every other word and hope that's going to be enough, because people are feeling economic pain, insecurity about a lot of other issues, including nuclear threats and that kind of thing, too. So I would say the short answer is yes, abortion is going to be a topic and a component in some people's minds as they vote for the midterms, but it's not going to be the only issue, and it may not end up being the primary issue.
Mm-hmm. Well, Greg, a political football that came to fruition maybe a month or 6 weeks ago is when President Biden said, hey, we've been talking about student loan forgiveness. Well, it's going to become a reality. Now, when that was announced, people said, well, hold on, not so fast. There may be some lawsuits that are filed in conjunction with that. And here it's come to roost. Yeah, the lawsuits are here.
Right. A new lawsuit filed just today. It was filed by a group called the Job Creators Network Foundation. It's a conservative organization, and they were making the argument in the lawsuit that essentially the Biden administration violated federal procedures by going ahead and trying to move forward with this program without getting any input from the public, basically the taxpayers that are going to be paying the hundreds of billions of dollars over the coming years for this proposal made by President Biden. Now, there have been any number of business groups and Republican lawmakers and attorneys who have been talking about trying to legally challenge this plan. And in fact, there was a previous challenge a week or two ago in the state of Wisconsin, but that judge there threw out that lawsuit because the judge said that there was no standing by that group to actually bring this case. This particular lawsuit today, they hope that they do have the standing. And another part of their argument is that this plan, which will cost hundreds of billions of dollars, only will affect or help a handful of people versus all borrowers. So they think that it's an uneven playing field. At least that's their argument. And we'll have to see if this one sticks or if there are additional legal challenges.
Interesting.
All right. Last but not least, Greg. Weird news for you today from UPI. An Idaho man said that he experienced a, quote, lesson in pain, breaking a Guinness World Record for longest duration, wait for it, balancing a guitar on his chin. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, it's amazing. So he did this
Greg's not covering that story.
Well, no, but I wondered if he'd ever done anything like this. This was an hour, 12 minutes, and 40 seconds that he did this, and of course ended up with a pretty serious neck problem. Yeah. Greg, have you ever done anything just for the sake of perhaps winning a record or being, feted in some way like this man?
Yeah, well, certainly not in the category of guitar chin balancing, but when I was a kid, we had a pogo stick, and I tried to, I think like 1,000 times I wanted it to bounce without stopping.
Yeah.
That was, I'm sure, very far away from an actual world record, but when you're 11 years old, hey, it was
you never know,
good,
right?
But that was important to you at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
All right. Well,
that's all I can think of.
That's why I bring up these stories so that we get to know Greg just a little bit better.
Good, Greg. Thank you. Well, there's always
Peeling
the guitar
back
record.
The onion layers. Yeah.
Yeah, and sadly, there was another person who had a record for doing this exact same silly thing, and this man broke it. So it's not like he's the first person who ever tried to do it.
All right. Well,
okay.
The world's falling apart, but someone's balancing a guitar on their chin.
That's right.
All right.
Good to see you,
Greg. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. Take care.
The word is out. People are abandoning their overpriced wireless carriers and flocking to Pure Talk for the same 5G coverage, but at a fraction of the price. In fact, the average family saves over $800 a year when switching from Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile. And switching is so easy. You can keep your phone, keep your number, or get huge discounts on the latest iPhones and Androids. Right now, you can get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data for just $30 a month. Or if you still want unlimited data, you can get that and still save a fortune. So make the switch and get the same coverage as the big guys, but at half the price. Go to puretalk.com, type in your address to find the coverage at your home, then enter promo code HALF-OFF, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. That's puretalk.com, promo code HALF-OFF. Switch to Pure Talk and get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data for just $30 a month, because Pure Talk is simply smarter wireless.
Pumpkins, 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 and more pumpkins. Pumpkins are what the Springhouse is thinking about this time of year. Hi, it's me, Marcia from the Springhouse, and we love sharing our farm with you during this beautiful time of year. We've got all kinds of fun planned for you and your family to be able to spend the whole day on our farm. Pumpkin patch hay rides, a petting zoo, giant square bale stack and pipes for sliding, a hay maze and a corn maze, pumpkin picking right out of the field, old-time games under a tent up on the hill, and lots more. And when you get hungry, of course, we have great eats inside too, with lots of pumpkin creations: pumpkin pie, pumpkin cookies, pumpkin bread, pumpkin custard, and even pumpkin black bean chili. Every October Saturday features a family-friendly meal, and October Sundays feature our 4-H hog roast with all the fixins. Plan to spend a memory-making day on the farm at the Springhouse in 84 PA. 724-228-3339 or springhousemarket.com.
Meet Brad. Brad's hard at work, or at least his website is. Ever since he added live chat with Salem Surround, Brad's customers are getting their questions answered 24/7. Website purchases have gone up 35%, and they're over 3 times more likely to buy from him again. No bots, just real people helping real people. Live chat, one of the easiest, most affordable ways Salem Surround can increase your business while you do other things, or nothing at all. Ask us how at surroundpittsburgh.com.
Want to save big on new blinds? Blindster.com offers custom-made blind shades and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order. Just use code RADIO. Offer ends soon. Shop today. Blindster.com.
We are everywhere on your radio at 101.5 WORD FM Pittsburgh, at wordfm.com, the Word FM mobile app, iHeart, TuneIn, and Odyssey.
Clear skies expected for tonight with a low of 45. Sunshine will mix with a few clouds tomorrow. A nice afternoon for outdoor activities. Tomorrow's high 70. Turning cloudy tomorrow night with a low of 49. Wednesday, sunshine and areas of high clouds in the morning. Then mostly cloudy skies and breezy in the afternoon. We'll see a high of 72. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm forecaster Drew Shannon.
I think it was last year that William Shatner went into outer space. This was the Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos billionaire spaceship. And when he came out of the capsule, he broke down and cried. Now, there's been a take on this because William Shatner is going to publish a new memoir. It's called Boldly Go, Reflections on a Life of Awe and Wonder. And he said that rather being filled with awe, as he expected to be at the sight of Earth's warm blue glow surrounded by the cold black of space, it left him feeling like he was at a funeral. The excerpt was published by Variety journalist Marianne Williamson, offered a deeper insight into Shatner's reaction. This was October of last year. And he says that I thought that going into space would be the ultimate catharsis of that connection that I'd been looking for between all living things. That being up there would be the next beautiful step to understanding the harmony of the universe. He said, they should have sent a poet. I had a different experience, though, because I discovered that beauty isn't out there. It's down here with all of us. Leaving that behind made my connection to our tiny planet even more profound. It was among the strongest feelings of grief that I have ever encountered. The contrast between the viciousness, the coldness of space, and the warm nurturing of earth below filled me with overwhelming sadness that I have yet to shake.
How about that?
Yeah. I mean, I could understand that.
I could understand it too. When I know you haven't yet seen For All Mankind, the serial show on Apple, but that comes across to me very strongly in that show. Mm-hmm.
The what? The grief or the awe?
Both, but more the grief of it. Yeah, and I don't know if that was intended by the makers of it, or that's just something that I'm reading into it myself.
The human heart is a mystery, isn't it? Because you expect one thing to happen, and then the opposite
other thing happens.
Now, this is weird. You know that thing up again?
I cannot wait to hear this. This is going to
Here's
change
my own near
my
space
day.
thing.
Yeah.
You know that thing at Kennywood where they like put you up on that harness and then you go fly?
That you did on the air one time right here on the
I
ride
did it
home?
twice, actually. The second time I did it, as I was being, sort of lifted up there.
You felt coldness and darkness also?
I got super depressed. Sitting up there, waiting for that, moment like this.
Well, yeah, because you're thinking, why did I agree to do this?
No, it's fine.
Thing?
I mean, the whole thing is easy, no big deal. But like a black shroud went over me when I was up there waiting for that to happen. I think of that often. Mm-hmm.
You were on the air when that was happening, right?
It wasn't happy talk, I'll tell you. Just say, yeah.
So weightlessness is depressing?
Well, no.
Because you were weightless at that moment.
For maybe a second, right?
Yeah.
What do you attribute that to?
Weightlessness is depressing.
I don't know. I don't know. It was this weird psychological reaction. Now, William Shatner digs down to it deeper, and I'm not, equating my experience with William Shatner going into space. But I just think we expect one thing, and then the mind and the body and the emotion gives us something else.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what that means. But William Shatner looking at the fragility of Earth and coming back and going, we're screwing this place up, right? I mean, I get that.
Is that what the depression was over? That we're screwing up the place?
Kind of, yeah.
Was it the fact, or was it like an awareness of his own mortality that he's going to leave this place?
He's saying, no. I think he's saying, we have this beautiful planet here.
Yeah.
We go into the blackness of space where we need machines to keep us alive. It's cold and dark. Why is everybody so excited about being in a cold, dark place when down here is so fabulous?
Yeah. Okay.
That's all.
I'd love to hear him talk about that, actually.
Me too.
I wonder if...
He's 91.
He's not.
Yeah. He's 91. And he went into space when he was 90.
Yeah. I can't believe he's that old. Wow.
William Shatner. All right. We'll take a quick break, come back. Pastor Tom Hall's next.
101.5 WORD.
Your station for unlimited grace with Brian Chappell.
God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes. And when Jesus is now dealing with this Gentile status official from Capernaum, what you see is the door opening wide.
Unlimited Grace with Brian Chappell, tonight at 11 on 101.5 WORD.
Do you know how much you're really paying for life insurance through work? I can almost guarantee you're overpaying for limited coverage. I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent for over 20 years. My clients are shocked to learn how expensive life insurance at work really is because of a rate that's driven up by unhealthy people. Why pay more when you don't have to? For over 35 years, SelectQuote has helped people save 50% or more by shopping highly rated insurance carriers. I found a 40-year-old man with high blood pressure, a $500,000 policy for only $18 a month. Don't procrastinate. Workplace open enrollment will be here soon. Let SelectQuote save you money and get you the coverage you need to protect your family.
For your free quote in just minutes, call 1-800-865-2266. That's 1-800-865-2266. 1-800-865-2266. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Full details on example policy and carrier ratings at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Price could vary by health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Hi, this is John Hall. You've all helped build MyPillow into the incredible company it is today, and have trusted in Mike Lindell to give you a great night's sleep. On top of the special exclusively from my listeners on the Perkel and Giza Dream bed sheets, marked down as low as $29.98, Mike is now changing the game with his 3-piece towel set. The set is made with USA cotton, making it extremely absorbent, yet still providing that soft feel you look for in a towel. The set comes with 1 bath, 1 hand towel, 1 washcloth, typically retailing for $49.99. Now, for a limited time, you get this 3-piece towel set for the low price of $19.98 with a promo code WORD. Don't miss out on this incredible offer. This is a limited supply, so be sure to order now. Call 1-800-391-0954. Use the promo code WORD or go to mypillow.com. Click on the radio listener square and use promo code WORD. These offers will not last long, so order now with promo code WORD at mypillow.com for this radio exclusive offer on all bed sheets.
Cable news. Noisy, out of touch, on repeat. Tired of all the lookalikes? So are we. Salem News Channel is here to change the game. Streaming 24/7, free on your TV with the greatest collection of conservative voices. Home to Dinesh D'Souza, Andrew Wilkow, Brandon Tatum, and more. Like you, we say what's wrong and what's right. Unfiltered and unapologetic. Salem News Channel. We're the answer to the mainstream media. Learn more at snc.tv.
North Hills School District parents, students, and employees appear to be split on a major decision recently made by the school board about their mascot. So the Indians have been the North Hills mascot, I don't know, for however long it was. But school directors voted 7-2 to stop using a Native American chief logo, but to continue using the name Indians for the district's athletic teams. I'm reading here from the Trib. So in reading the article, which is pretty long, they did a good job with the article. They talked to students, they talked to parents, they talked to alumni, and basically people feel both ways. Like, some people apparently vehemently opposed to the measure, while others hope it would lead the district to make even more changes. Parent Ashley McDonald said, "Why do we have to turn the Indian logo head into something negative when we're actually proud of it? It doesn't make sense. It's kind of contradicting and hypocritical. You're going to keep the Indian name, but you're going to take the logo away."
That's
which
exactly
is
how I feel.
Which is what they decided. They're going to keep the name, but the logo, the Indian head, is a thing of the past.
Somehow the logo is, offensive to people?
Nicole Patil said, she's another parent, and she's also an alumni. She said, they should have just kept both. I think it's just to bring negativity. That's just the world we live in. They can't think of anything in a positive light. So I went to North Hills, and my kids went to North Hills, so I've been involved in the community there for a long time. Some people think it's a good compromise, that you're kind of placating both sides.
It doesn't make any sense.
To me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They asked a bunch of students in the Trib article, and the students said, I think it's... Emily Steiner said, "I think it's pretty stupid, because what's the difference if you're still calling us the Indians?" Her classmates Lou Stevens and Jacob Blonkarik said, "It's very stupid because we've been known as the Indians for such a long time. I mean, that's what the whole community calls us." Someone else said, another teacher said, "It's more the teachers and the board talking about it instead of, things that involve us."
It seems just like a spineless response.
Okay, so listen to this. This is a story I did not know. And again, I'm a member of the community there, so you'd think I would have heard of this. Anyway, shortly before the music department trip to Disney World, this is last year apparently, band members were notified that they would not be permitted to perform due to the Indian logo on the back of the home uniforms.
Disney World said this.
It was largely due to it. Yeah, it was largely due,
that's
again,
great. You're being
reading
lectured
here
by Disney World.
Largely due
the morality
to an incident involving a school from another state. In March, a Texas high school drill team members named the Indianettes were told they were not permitted to perform in Disney World if they wore the headdresses or war bonnets that are part of their uniform. The group complied with the request, but were recorded chanting some unflattering words and terms. And so during the April 21st board meeting, the North Hills board unanimously voted to replace the home uniforms of the band. The North Hills Marching Band was able to make the trip and perform at the resort by switching to its away uniforms, which do not have the mascot on them. So that's apparently where it started.
So then this is an outward response to the rest of the world, right? So
yeah. Now, keep in mind, Penn Hills are also the Indians. They said that they haven't decided what. Now, here's the thing that I heard from a neighbor. Now, this is truly the Nextdoor app come to radio, okay? But I was...
Don't get me started on the Nextdoor app.
Oh, Gary loves the Nextdoor app. I was talking to one of my neighbors about this, also in the North Hill School District, and she was saying that the reason that the Indians became the mascot of the area is because so many Indian artifacts were found in the area in the early part of the 20th century. And so they decided to name it. So it was...
They were honoring.
It was an honoring type of
no one
designation.
named the Indians did it to
of course
be derogatory.
Not, because why would you pick a mascot that was derogatory for you?
Right.
Anyway, a woman from the tribe who was largely in the area, actually sent a letter to the school board saying, we like it. Like, it makes us feel good that we're remembered, that our ancestors are honored in this way. Like, don't give it up because you think you're trying to make us happy.
Right. But probably the whole impetus comes from the story you just told
of the
about
marching
Disney.
band thing.
Right, about being at Disney. So Disney's going, no. So we can still be called the Indians. We just can't show an Indian emblem on our back.
Which I'm not sure how much sense that makes.
It doesn't make any sense. It just hacks me off. Because then all of a sudden we get Disney.
Right, who's telling us what to do here in the northeastern part of America.
What hacked you off?
Exactly.
Disney's hacking me off because that doesn't make any sense. Nothing makes any sense in this world. Okay, so today, of course, in case you missed it, is Columbus Day.
Or Indigenous Peoples Day.
Right.
Which I think you
It's
could...
fine. I think you can say both.
Yeah, I think you could say both things.
Right.
But apparently that's not allowed in today's culture. You can't... There's no nuance allowed. It has to be either one.
Right.
It has to be completely binary, except when it comes to sexuality, when it's non-binary. It's hard to keep up with what's binary and what's
Columbus,
not.
Right? We're being told
Columbus is all bad.
Horrible.
Columbus never did one good thing in his life.
Right.
And the indigenous peoples never did one bad thing in their lives. So we have
that's
to
our
pick,
choices.
We have to pick one or the other.
Heaven help us.
I don't know. It just makes us dumber. That we have to live like this. We have to just decide that whatever group, those people are bad, and this guy's good, or the reverse. And nobody's like that.
No one's like that.
What kind of group do you know that is all good?
Well, people that are enacting these laws, or the people who are representing, what was their dinner conversation like around the table? I mean, wasn't there conversation about these ideas? Or didn't they engage in social studies in school? Wasn't there a free exchange? People are so ready to be, what? Angry, upset, finger point.
Or I think there's this
self-righteous.
There's this deep desire to be righteous and correct. Yeah. And it makes you feel so right to be able to point the finger at a group or a person and say, that person over there, that's where the evil is. It's over there. It's out there. Because it makes you feel like it's not in you. I do think that that's the basis of it.
I think you're right about that. I mean, because life, there's no black and white in life, isn't it? Life is complex. There's shades. We are complex people.
Yep.
Even you look at yourself in the mirror.
You again.
I mean, it's complex to be alive. In the most basic sense. So all of a sudden now we're judging history and thinking this is the appropriate way to respond.
This is the only thing that could have happened.
As opposed to...
we have to... And it is sad to think that we're going through you're right, not just our friends, not just our celebrities or our politicians, and deciding whether they go in the good camp or the bad camp.
Yep.
Okay, but we're combing through history to decide who goes in the good camp.
Well, of course, because we started taking statues down because that was offensive. Now, the Columbus statue that's been in Highland Park, that's going to go away forever. Highland Park, yeah, that's going to go away. I mean, everyone's okay, good, out of sight, out of mind. We can proceed with our day, and there's just one less slice of evil that we have to deal with, right? People think that
because the evil's in the statue. Mm-hmm. Right? Or the evil's in Christopher Columbus.
Or when I look at the
statue. I'm not defending Christopher Columbus and saying he was a great guy. I don't think do you think any of the explorers were just awesome stand-up people?
No.
You think Ferdinand Magellan was killing it?
These were brutal, hardened people.
Look at what they did for a living.
Yeah, right, exactly. They got it. I mean, at the time of Columbus, people thought the earth was flat.
Right.
Okay? Yeah.
I don't think any of these were doing their trips for humanitarian reasons.
I do not believe so. They were looking for gold and treasure to bring back to the king to be risen up.
Grief.
I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But
I know.
This is the world we live in.
Okay, so how should we then live is the question. So knowing that this is the way people talk, this is the way that certainly the entertainment complex talks, is that you've got good people and you've got bad people. And certainly there's no nuance. So how are we supposed to live despite that?
Well, laugh at them.
Laugh at them.
Just ignore them.
But how do you ignore? But they're setting the tone here, right? All of a sudden, things are going away. This, as ridiculous as the North Hills thing is, it does affect people's lives, right? It does mean something to people. There is something behind that has worth and value to people. But now we can't bring it up.
Okay, so what does that mean that you are? And I'm not saying this is a wrong answer. Are you going to be like a letter writer?
No.
Are you going to be
I'm here
you already have a talk show. Right.
What am I going to say?
Right.
You're not going to change anybody's mind. The die's already been cast. Everybody falls into these camps, right? We're being lectured to. This is how the world is right now.
But don't you feel like in your sphere, however small it is, you have to fight for some degree of common sense
in your sphere
and some degree of nuance between extremes? I just feel like that for the sake of my own emotional health and for the sake of the good of humanity, I have to be able to reach out to people with whom I disagree and refuse to point the finger at that group or that person and say they're completely bad, and that person's completely good.
So they are, to me, to hear all this talk, whether it's Disney or North, they are not thinking right. So then, in accordance, they are not acting right.
So they don't feel right either.
They don't feel right.
First pickle.
Exactly. They don't. It doesn't make any sense. It's all topsy-turvy, upside down. Maybe, and this is my only silver lining in all this, maybe this weird period in history will somehow 5 years, 10 years pass by.
Kind of pass by.
And people will go, wait a second.
And then they'll be able to do what Gary said and just be able to laugh about it and say, really?
At least have some sort of conversation.
That's what people were saying then?
Yeah, maybe. That things will change because no one would have expected this to happen the way it's happened so quickly. Just the world's crazy. All right, we'll take a quick break.
Coming up next, hundreds of sea turtles have washed ashore on a Florida beach after the hurricane.
God bless them.
Please tell me they're okay.
Mm-hmm. They'll find their way to my house, Skippy and Milu. Be right back.
Uncle Ryan, the news. We need a watchdog. A panic room.
Because mortgage rates have gotten higher?
But the news, Uncle Ryan. It's like the British are coming. Or worse. A birthday catastrophe. I'm sorry. Can't say that word, catastrophe.
It's Ryan from United Faith Mortgage, and yes, we're going heavy on the jokes to make a point. Mortgage rates are up, and no, it's not optimal for anyone. But there is another reality. Life does go on. Maybe you're ready for your first home, your dream home, or maybe it's time to downsize. Life goes on. Rates have been higher in the past, and good people still need new homes. The point we want to make is,
if you buy a new home this year and you don't use our direct lender advantage, which can often save you monthly and lifelong money, along with us paying $1,000 of your closing costs, you'd be crazier than a watchdog in a panic room. See what we did there?
we are United Faith Mortgage.
United Mortgage Corp, Melville, New York. NMLS number 1330. Pennsylvania Department of Banking and Securities. Mortgage lender license 22672.
This view was worth a hike.
Right? And it's a good way to stay on top of my health.
Yes, I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. Have you screened for colon cancer?
Not yet.
Don't wait. It's more treatable when caught in early stages.
Tell me more.
Cologuard is non-invasive and it's used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or a personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you. or visit Cologuard.com.
I'm in.
Bachman's Roofing and Solar is your local award-winning roofer. Stop waiting. It's time to inspect your roof and protect your home's #1 asset. With no interest and no payment financing for 12 months, Bachman's Roofing is your easy choice for roofing, gutters, and solar. Did you know Bachman's Roofing is one of the #1 GAF solar integrated roofing installers in the USA? Go with Bachman's. Go with solar and install the roof that pays for itself. Call 412-744-8390 or visit Bachman'sRoofing.com.
There's nothing like hearing the songs you love on local radio with no subscriptions and no monthly fees. But there's a new bill in Congress that could stop the music. If passed, this bill would tax your local radio station simply to play the music you love. Text LOCAL to 52886 and ask Congress to support local radio stations. Help us keep you connected to the music, local news, weather, and traffic that you need each day. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Did you see 60 Minutes last night?
I forgot.
Oh. Bart Barber.
Oh, how was it?
Excellent.
Tell me.
Excellent. He proclaimed the gospel of Jesus Christ.
I can't believe I forgot.
His church, I must texted you.
You should have.
His church in Texas, like 320 people.
Yeah, I knew it was
tiny little church.
That is small. I didn't know it was that small.
Anyway, it's out there. So I would suggest a little later on you take a look at it.
Okay, yeah, so you were...
He brought it, man.
Okay.
He addressed any number of issues.
He didn't seem defensive.
Not in the least. No, he was a pastor, and he spoke like a pastor, and he acted like a pastor.
How do you feel like the 60 Minutes team
treated
him?
Respectful. It was Anderson Cooper. Anderson Cooper asked about gay marriage.
Okay.
And Bart Barber was like, I'm sorry, this is just how it is. I mean, it was really interesting.
Wow. But respect on both sides.
Very respectful on both sides. It was a really, really well done piece. So I believe it's,
it's on the 60 Minutes.
It is?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, well, it's worth looking at. Anyway, okay. I bring it up because I was thinking because they did a whole piece on Sanibel Island.
Oh, where you lived for a while.
Yeah. And they were in a boat with a family who went back to Sanibel for the first time. I mean,
Is it nuked?
Oh.
Is it?
It's incredible. Of course, the people were in tears. Their house.
Awful.
I mean, it was a long piece, but they just show the devastation. Anyway, my point is that I saw something today which made me think about 60 Minutes last night. There apparently have been more than 200 sea turtles that have washed ashore after Hurricane Ian, and apparently all of them are in fine health.
No. Good.
So these sea turtles, they come up to land, they birth their babies, and then they go out about 20 miles where they feed on seaweed patties.
Okay.
And so, of course, the storm surge kicked all these turtles up. They're anywhere from a few months old to indeterminate age. Big sea turtles, loggerhead sea turtles. And so they washed ashore. They're being housed, some 200 of them, at this Bavard Zoo. And they're saying they're just checking on them, and eventually
Talk about immigration. I don't think that the zoo is quite ready.
No. They're saying eventually the sea turtles, all 200 plus, will be sent back to the sea. But just, a little caution here.
So are they confused? Do you think they're like, well, how did we get here?
Well, you can imagine how many animals were damaged by debris.
I know.
Right? Because once all of that stuff flew back into the ocean. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, that's a good story with a good ending, John.
Sea Turtle Preservation Society. Heck yeah. Because, I think, the turtles to me, in many ways, are like, as the health of turtles are, so is the health of the ocean. Right? Because there they are. 20 miles is not that far out to sea. And to think about the vitality of those turtles thriving in there, fabulous.
I agree.
So good news.
I agree. Now, how have you done personally with turtles? Because you had them living in your own home.
Those turtles have been gone a while. And
Skippy and Milu.
And I passed the turtles on in a responsible way to a turtle rescue. How long has it been? How long do you think it's been?
3 years?
No, longer than that.
More than 3 years.
Oh, yeah, long, maybe 8 years, I was thinking.
It can't be 8 years.
I think so. We bought these I know. I got a turtle here, Word FM, as a matter of fact, at Word FM. This was my kids were super little, and we went to the air show out by the airport. And I had to check in on a Saturday afternoon with Nancy Marshall, who was the board op here on Saturday afternoon. She said to me, hey, do you want a turtle? Because she teaches English as a second language. Because one of my ESL families came to America from Korea, and they got a turtle while they were here. And now they've gone back to Korea, and they can't have it.
Okay.
So would you like it? So I was like, hey, guys, you want a turtle? My kids were little. They probably were like 4 and 6. That's how long ago it was. So my kids were like, yay. So I showed up after going to the air show home with like a 20-gallon aquarium and 1 turtle.
Is that why the turtle's name was Milu?
Yes.
Korean?
Yes. So then we had that turtle, and I thought, well, gee, I should get 2 turtles.
Right,
of course, like Noah's Ark.
Company, right.
So I went out and bought like a 50-gallon, maybe a 75-gallon.
Mm-hmm.
That thing was gigantic. Then, of course, they started to escape. They escaped. Then they would disappear for months on end in the basement. You'd find them lint-ridden with a dryer hose attached to them.
With no video support of how they possibly walked down the steps.
Oh, they didn't walk down the steps. They clunked down the steps, one hard shell at a time. Anyway, turtles are cool. I'm glad they survived.
101.5 WORD-FM Pittsburgh. On your smart speaker by saying, play the word Pittsburgh. And on your phone via the Word FM mobile app, iHeart, TuneIn, and Odyssey.
KLG.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen joins an international chorus of criticism and condemnation following the Russian missile attacks across Ukraine early today.
I am shocked and appalled by the vicious attack on Kiev and other Ukrainian cities. Russia once again has shown to the world what it stands for. It is terror and brutality. Those who are responsible have to be held accountable.
The lethal barrage against multiple cities killed at least 11. New York Congressman and Republican candidate for governor Lee Zeldin says his family is safe after 2 teenagers were shot outside his Long Island home.
What we have been told from the Suffolk County Police Department is that the answer that their belief is that the answer is no.
It was not connected to him or his family. This is SRN News.
Hello?
Hey, stranger.
Oh, hi. Thank goodness it's you. I was afraid to answer the phone.
Why? What's up?
The credit card companies are after me. They want me to make payments, and the calls never stop.
Ouch. Been there before, but I got help from Trinity Debt Management.
Trinity?
Yeah. I called, and right away, Trinity contacted my creditors and got my interest rates cut in half. They ended all the late fees and over-limit charges, and they stopped those annoying phone calls.
Bet that was a relief.
Yep. Then they put me on a plan that consolidated my bills into one easy monthly payment. That way, I paid off my debt fast while saving thousands.
Nice.
Trinity even showed me how to plan and meet a monthly budget. So now I'm debt-free for keeps.
Wow. Do you still have their number?
Sure. Here, write this down and call 1-800-936-5496.
Can you repeat that?
1-800-936-5496. That's 1-800-936-5496.
Hi, this is John Hall. You've all helped build MyPillow into the incredible company it is today, and have trusted in Mike Lindell to give you a great night's sleep. On top of the special exclusively from my listeners on the Perkel and Giza Dream bed sheets, marked down as low as $29.98, Mike is now changing the game with his 3-piece towel set. The set is made with USA cotton, making it extremely absorbent, yet still providing that soft feel you look for in a towel. The set comes with 1 bath, 1 hand towel, 1 washcloth, typically retailing for $49.99. Now, for a limited time, you get this 3-piece towel set for the low price of $19.98 with the promo code WORD. Don't miss out on this incredible offer. This is a limited supply, so be sure to order now. Call 1-800-391-0954. Use the promo code WORD or go to MyPillow.com. Click on the radio listener square and use promo code WORD. These offers will not last long, so order now with promo code WORD at MyPillow.com for this radio exclusive offer on all bed sheets.
International travel is open again. So now is the perfect time for that trip to Israel, the trip of a lifetime. A trip to the Holy Land will bring you face to face with one of the most fascinating countries on earth. More than just a vacation, this meaningful trip is your opportunity to enjoy the freedom to travel again, walking the ancient streets of Jerusalem where Jesus walked, sailing the Sea of Galilee, and floating in the mineral-rich Dead Sea with its healing and rejuvenating power. Sebastian Gorka and Dinesh D'Souza, along with our trusted travel partner Inspiration Cruises and Tours, personally invite you to experience Israel with them this November. To book your trip to Israel, log on to standwithisraeltour.com. That's standwithisraeltour.com. Then call 855-565-5519 to secure your spot. Call today, 855-565-5519.
Clear skies expected for tonight with a low of 45. Sunshine will mix with a few clouds tomorrow. A nice afternoon for outdoor activities. Tomorrow's high 70. Turning cloudy tomorrow night with a low of 49. Wednesday, sunshine and areas of high clouds in the morning. Then mostly cloudy skies and breezy in the afternoon. We'll see a high of 72. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm forecaster Drew Shannon.
Welcome to another edition of The Ride Home with John and Kathy, live from the Salem Pittsburgh studios. And now here are your hosts, John Hall and Kathy Emmons.
Hey, thanks for being with us. Absolutely gorgeous. It's an incredibly beautiful day out there. Hope you can sit outside in the yard or go for a walk or do something outside because they are so precious, aren't they?
Yes.
You know it's coming.
Yep. This has to be the time when you soak it up.
Okay, what about that crazy story about the poor man who was found in his car, had passed away.
And his car is in the river.
Right outside of Heinz Field. And then they start diving, this dive team. They found more than 100 cars in this same spot.
Can you believe that?
Yes.
How could you believe that? Where do you drive into the river?
Well, it's right by the steps. Maybe you drive down the steps. If you're driving a car into the river, do you think you're paying attention to traffic laws?
Okay, that's a good point. So this is happening at 3 a.m.
Probably. People probably steal a car, take it for a joyride, and then go, I'm just going to dump it. I don't know. I have no idea. 100 cars? It's going to be like a wall, a gigantic wall of cars.
I mean, I can't believe there's enough space there to do that.
Right. So the poor man who went missing, I think, in late September. And
it's hard to tell where these steps are. You see that we're looking at the photograph in the PG article from today.
Yeah.
And
those are the steps that go up to Heinz Field.
Oh, okay. All right. So they're the ones like where the boat would come over from the south side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right there. I think the boat would run into those cars.
It says around 100 vehicles lay hidden below the surface of Pittsburgh's rivers. Members of a volunteer search and recovery team said late last night, a day after they helped find and recover the car and body of a missing Butler County man. The organization is called Adventures with Purpose, a group of volunteer divers who search rivers and other waterways for missing people and their vehicles.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So the sad news is that the poor man, Todd Dimino, was found passed away inside of his Honda Civic. But then the dive team started looking around. They find all these cars. I mean, it's an incredible find. I don't know. I don't understand that.
I don't either. Now, apparently, this group, what's it called? Adventures with Purpose, is a big YouTube thing.
Mm-hmm. So they came to town to do this.
And so they're privately funded, as I understand it, and they come into different cities and they pick up cold cases and see what. The only thing I can't figure out is how they're supported. I know they have done some crowdfunding, but I can't believe they've done enough crowdfunding to keep doing this.
Right.
But I don't know.
So
if anyone knows anything about this organization, Adventures with Purpose, can you give us a call?
That'd be very interesting.
800-320-8255. 800-320-8255. I was down on the North Shore today walking along the Allegheny River, and I saw the team there diving. They had a diver down flag up, and they were skirting around the Allegheny River between, like, close to the Fort Duquesne Bridge.
Yeah.
And they had a KDKA news team there that was...
reporting.
Yeah, right. And so and I was kind of hoping to kind of go up and talk to somebody, but everybody was
busy
doing other things.
Right. So they found 100 cars on Friday underwater. We've removed one of them. We have a lot of work left to do. What do you do with 100 cars?
I can't imagine. Now, apparently the team is in Pittsburgh searching specifically for Janet Walsh, missing since 2020, and Bunny Lee, who disappeared in 2013.
Well, they've got a good episode on their hands.
Yeah.
Right? More than they bargained for. There's no doubt about
apparently
that.
the team, according to this PG article, a team searched areas around the Sharpsburg boat ramp and the Millvale Marina.
That would make sense, right? I mean, it's easy, the boat ramps that are all over Pittsburgh, right? Fox Chapel, Shale, you name it. There's a zillion boat ramps around.
Yeah. Pittsburgh Police, Fire Bureau, and River Rescue are working collaboratively with the divers. The PG notes that there were no egos whatsoever. So that's good to know. They're all continuing to work together to hopefully figure out what's going on in the Pittsburgh rivers. But they found 100 cars just on Friday.
That's scary. Wouldn't it be scary to be one of those divers?
I could never.
What could you fight?
As I was walking by them today, I thought to myself, I can't think of a job I'm less suited. I mean, okay, neurosurgeon, yes. Professional tennis player. But I am ill-suited to be a diver in every single way.
Yeah. It's a little claustrophobic.
It gives me the creeps.
Plus, even though it's going to be cold underneath that water, don't you think? Brr, right?
Yeah, they were all in full suits and everything.
Yeah, but still. Well, God bless them. And a tragedy for sure that someone goes missing and they find their body in the river. But I don't know. It's just a topsy-turvy world, is it not?
No one's called with details about Adventures with Purpose.
No.
About the volunteer divers.
They're busy. They're probably still down there until 6 o'clock-ish or so, until it starts to get dark.
Great. What about the news, the residential boom? And what's happening downtown Pittsburgh?
Yeah, okay. So they're talking about, again, I'm reading today's news. Right now, there's 7,200 people who live full-time in downtown Pittsburgh.
Okay.
15 years ago, there were like 2,100. And they're saying, of course, this is no secret, that because, I mean, look, all the office towers that are seemingly still unoccupied, you look at us here at 7 Parkway Center, we walk around. I think other than the people across the hall, we're maybe the only people on this floor. And you never, I mean, again, we've talked about that, you never get on the elevator if there's anybody there.
Right.
So most office buildings still are empty. People are working from home. All you got to do is look at traffic. So they're saying downtown Pittsburgh, like the golf building. I love the golf building.
So do I.
I think it's my favorite building downtown.
Oh, okay.
It's an old deco building, and I knew someone who worked in the golf building way back in the 90s, and he said he had access to the top floor, which at the time was the golf executive floor. He said walking in there was like walking into a time capsule.
Oh, like the 1940s probably.
1960s.
Really?
He said there was like orange furniture, orange couches all over the place.
Everything was scratchy.
And I remember being a kid and being able to go to the top of the golf tower. There was an observation deck up there, right? So that would be a great place to live. Imagine how beautiful it would be.
Right.
However, remember the state office building down by the Hilton Hotel, down by the Point? That's all residential as well.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's been residential for a long time. Probably for a decade at least. And of course, Gateway Center and various public theater has apartments down there. There's
the former Kaufman's.
Yep, there's a ton of places down there right now. So there's a boom here, and they're saying no more construction for office buildings, but let's reconvert those into affordable housing for people.
All right, so as we're doing that, then we need to figure out how to get more than just a Target grocery store down there. Right?
Right.
For people to utilize. And we need to figure out how to make sure that people feel safe in all sectors of downtown.
Yeah, because
if they're going to live there, you know what I mean?
It's not good downtown.
No, it's not.
I'm sorry, and I love downtown. Grew up downtown.
Listen, I was on the North Shore today for several hours this morning. It's not good there.
Right, because there's a homeless population that's out of control, and the city government, for whatever reason, is refusing to engage.
I'm not sure what's going on.
Right.
And I was looking across the Allegheny at what was going on the downtown side, and it looks like portions of it have been cleared and portions of it haven't.
Well, you think with the coming cold weather and Light of Life and other ministries there, the homeless population would be helped, but it seems like a huge problem that right now is out of control.
101.5 WORD.
Do you ever wonder why God allows bad things to happen to good people? Coming up on Insight for Living from Chuck Swindoll.
God never puts us through a test without a purpose. You're going through a test, there's a purpose. God doesn't waste tests.
Hear Chuck Swindoll's brand new teaching series called Clinging to Hope, Monday through Friday, right here on Insight for Living.
Tomorrow morning at 8 on 101.5 WORD.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold. We're the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. We teach people how to own physical gold and silver. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the best information, the best process, the best service, the best value. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
Call 800-900-8000.
From Kingstone Studios, no vacancy, an incredible true story comes to Salem now.
Now they want to purchase a motel and turn it into a shelter for homeless families.
A demoted journalist, a recovering addict, and a pastor fighting for the homeless find themselves at the end of hope.
I got 45 signatures right here, Mayor, against this proposal from my neighborhood. Let's stop this!
It's like the grapes of wrath. Starring T.C. Stallings, Sean Young, and Dean Cain.
Feed the hungry and house the homeless. That's what we're supposed to do.
It means you have tenants.
I know.
You're going to have them leave today, or I'm going to terminate your lease.
You didn't want to do this piece.
Things change. You have to run it tomorrow.
No, not a chance.
The nicest thing anybody ever done for me.
Streaming now. Find it at salemnow.com.
Welcome to Hope.
Meet Brad. Brad's hard at work, or at least his website is. Ever since he added live chat with Salem Surround, Brad's customers are getting their questions answered 24/7. Website purchases have gone up 35%, and they're over 3 times more likely to buy from him again. No bots, just real people helping real people. Live chat, one of the easiest, most affordable ways Salem Surround can increase your business while you do other things, or nothing at all. Ask us how at surroundpittsburgh.com.
It's such a beautiful day in Pittsburgh, and we live in such a beautiful city. I mean, amidst all of our trouble and, despite all the challenges, it's such a beautiful place to live. It is hard to accept that Pittsburgh has become a center for something as evil as sex trafficking. It's something I didn't know very much about until a couple of years ago. And in the last, 2.5 years, I've just had my eyes opened in a way that is humbling. It can be overwhelming. It can seem incredibly dark. But at the same time, if you know the truth will set you free. I mean, there's no point in us putting our heads in the sand about something that's happening in our backyard if there's something that we can do about it. So we've invited Theresa Golden to be with us today. Theresa is the executive director of Refuge for Women Pittsburgh, and we're going to talk about exactly what that is and how you can be involved in it. But first off, we're so glad you're here.
Well, thank you. I enjoy being here and speaking with you.
Okay, Theresa, so set the stage for us. I said that the first time that you and I met, I was remarkably uneducated and unaware of what was going on in Pittsburgh. So tell them what you told me.
Yeah, and I would actually say the same thing for me. I'm a registered nurse and worked in healthcare many years and never knew it was a problem until you see it firsthand.
Yeah.
And so, most people think it looks like what's in the movies, and it couldn't possibly be here. It's in Las Vegas, or it's in, bigger cities like that, or even third world countries. They're taking them on cruise ships to see these sheiks and, things like that. But it is, like you said, right in your backyard.
Yeah. So define what sex trafficking is.
Yes. So sex trafficking is when someone is through force, fraud, or coercion having to do some type of sex act in exchange for money. So if you think about like strip clubs or brothels or things like that, they're performing a sex act so that someone else has paid for it, but they get nothing out of it. So they're not earning the money for the performance, basically,
right.
But someone else is. So they're kind of manipulating them. And like I said, it's either through force, where they are physically made to lay still, or something like that. Fraud, where they're telling them, misinformation to get them to do something, and then they're kind of stuck in that situation without realizing that they're there.
So then, in the parlance of today's verbiage, there's something known as a sex worker, which is a whole other story. But this is essentially, for lack of a better word, you're someone's sex slave.
Exactly. But even when you look at that term sex worker, and you think about, these children or these kids going to kindergarten, they're like, what do you want to be when you grow up? None of them put on their sex worker. And so the idea is like really looking behind, why are they doing that? And a lot of it is because of the trauma from their childhood, or from situations like I mentioned, either force, fraud, or coercion, that they've been forced to do that. Now, they may have gotten out of that situation, but a lot of them have never learned any other way to take care of themselves. So it's what we tend to term survival sex, because they're still doing it, but it's because that's the only way they know how to survive. It's the only way they can pay their rent. It's the only way they can put food on the table, because they've never learned another skill, because this happened when they were so young. They've been manipulated to the point where they've been told you're not good for anything else. So they begin to believe it. Their self-esteem is destroyed, everything. And so it's just a way for them to get through each day.
I see.
Theresa, talk about how young people, especially girls, are lured into trafficking without having any idea that this is the world that they're entering.
Exactly. And unfortunately, it's because of social media, it's because of internet, and that's just the world we live in right now. So many young girls really don't have that limits or those boundaries of what they're posting. And it could be young boys, too. It's not always just girls, but they're posting too much information. And these traffickers or these pimps, they are very good at looking for some way to get into that. So some weakness that person is posting about, they're fighting with their parents, they don't have any money, whatever the situation may be, they tend to start messaging them at that point and saying, hey, I understand I didn't get along with my mom either. Do you want to talk about it? And so they just kind of start grooming them in that way. So they become that person's way to fill that need. And so they follow them on internet enough to where they know what that is. And so they develop these relationships and get these women, young girls, teenagers, boys, whatever it might be, to believe they're the only person that loves them. They're the only person that understands them. And
they'll be the person to take care of them.
Yep. That they're their basically savior when you kind of look at it. They're their way to get out of that situation, or their way to get what they need.
So I see in today's newspaper there's a 12-year-old girl who's missing. And it seems to be, as I read the news, it's a more and more common thing, right? 12, 14, 16, kids disappear for a while.
Mm-hmm. When you think about when you were a teenager, did you really know what you were doing in life? Absolutely
no,
not.
Of course not.
So 12 to 14 is that prime age of runaways, because they're trying to figure out life. They're trying to figure out who they are, where do they fit in.
Come a little closer to the mic there.
Sorry.
That's all right.
And so they're trying to identify who they are. So they're very vulnerable to people who pour into that. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? We could go do this, or, you're good at this, or, they run away, like you mentioned. And big cities like Pittsburgh are ways for them to hide. They know there's kind of a lot of resources with homeless centers, things like that. But those are all prime areas where traffickers look.
I see.
And they approach them within usually 1 to 3 days, like 48 hours.
Of the kids being out on the street.
Is approached by a trafficker.
So why Pittsburgh? Why is Pittsburgh, and Kath came in with the introduction that Pittsburgh's what? What did you say, Kath, number 2?
Yeah, it's one of the centers in America. Talk about that.
So when you look at, we have a lot of prime ways for people to get in and out of the city. There's the airway, there's the railway.
I see.
There's buses, there's all kinds of ways in the highway system. Get them in, perform whatever you need to, get them out. As well as we have 3 major sports teams, and big sporting events like the Super Bowl or NASCAR or just different things like that are prime areas where a lot of people are coming in. A lot of people that aren't from around here, so sometimes they tend to do things they wouldn't normally do at home. Mm-hmm. So they're buying sex, and so the traffickers will bring in women. They'll bring in teams of them that they have and sell them through that. So big cities like that host those types of events, and cities that have those multiple ways of getting in and out, are prime areas for trafficking.
I see. Years ago, I was on an international trip with a ministry, and there was a young girl that was essentially presented. I saw that girl, and I thought, oh, something bad is going on there. So that's a third world country, which, of course, is a whole other story of conversation.
Absolutely.
But when you see, how do I know? How do I see someone and go, that person, that young person is being used as a tool somehow?
There's different red flag signs based on different situations. A lot of it is they don't look you in the face. You know, they will not approach you. They try to hide. You'll see a lot of them, you know, their weight, their lack of, you know, natural or nutritious food, a lot of times living on the streets, bruises, you know, different things and ways that they tend to talk their way out of it. So if they would talk to you or you would approach them, there's an excuse for everything. There's a reason why that happened. Like they don't admit anything.
And why is that?
Because they're afraid. Because a lot of times the traffickers have told them, and that's one of those coercion type areas, is I'm going to kill your parents or I'm going to hurt your little sister if you don't do what I say. And so they're not going to admit to anyone, even like teachers. Like that's a big thing. We're like, find a support person, find someone safe, and they're afraid to because they're afraid to be found out by the person who's trafficking them, because then it's going to be worse. If I do this, my family's protected. You know, so I'll basically do what I have to do to keep them safe.
Theresa Golden is with us, Executive Director of Refuge for Women, Pittsburgh. Theresa, Refuge for Women seeks to be involved.
Yes.
To represent something different for these young women. Talk about the organization. First off, what is it? And then I want to hear how you found out about it.
Okay. Refuge for Women is a national organization. So it was started in 2009 in Kentucky and basically came out of the need of there was a group of women taking warm food into a strip club. And so they were building relationships with the women who were working there. And the women, after a period of time, began to trust them and said, we don't want to do this. We want to go out. We want to do something different. They didn't have a way to do that. They didn't have the resources they needed to be able to get an apartment, to be able to afford the things that they, you know, needed to be able to survive on their own. And so our founders, Ked and Michelle Frank, opened up a home for women coming out of the sex industry. And so basically that was to give them a home to live in completely free of charge while they worked on those things, worked on the trauma that led to that vulnerability that led them to that situation, gave them a safe place to stay while they worked on all of those things, and then helped them transition into an apartment of their own or to whatever that next phase would be. And so over the last 12 years have moved on to other states. So we're now in 6 different states and providing safe housing for women all over the country for up to 2 years, a continuum of care to provide that safe housing while the women are rebuilding their lives. And it's really about that restoration, giving them time to rest and heal and learn to, you know, that self-esteem, helping them build that self-esteem back, helping them to gain their dignity back, and to help them to realize you're not your past. You know, you have a chance and a change for the future, and to give them that hope again. And so that's really what Refuge for Women is all about, is to help them gain hope in tomorrow.
So at any one time, you have a number of people with you that you're helping?
Yes. So currently in our home here, we're opening a local emergency home here in Pittsburgh.
Let me break in and say the difference between an emergency shelter, which is what you're opening here in Pittsburgh, and perhaps some of the other things that Refuge for Women offers.
Right. So we started out just doing long-term housing. So that's when they moved into the home and they stayed for up to a year, again, dealing with the trauma, dealing with anxiety, depression, their addictions, whatever they had endured during the time they were trafficked or exploited. And after doing that for so long, realized there was more that we needed to do. So over the last 2 years have expanded our model from long-term housing to now also include emergency housing, which is the ability to get them off the streets within 24 to 48 hours. Whether they're addicted, whether, you know, they can pay, it's completely free of charge, but we can start that process immediately now. Whereas before, it took a 10 to 14 day admissions process, which is typically what it does to get in a lot of different places.
People are gone by then.
Right. You lose that opportunity to serve them. You lose that I mean, think about it. If you're addicted and you're living on the streets, you try to stop that addiction yourself in order to be able to be eligible to go into a shelter. There's no chance. You have no support, you know, to be able to do that. So by being able to open this emergency home, we can get them immediately and start surrounding them with that, surrounding them with, you know, staff who've been trained in trauma-informed care, providing all of that evidence-based programming that we do, and just really the love of God. you know, to show them that we don't care what's happened in your past. We want to help you rebuild your future. Right. And so by doing that immediately will help to serve a lot more women. And then they can move on into our other homes, which is the long-term home, which we've been doing for 12 years, as well as transitional living, which is once they graduate the program, they can move into the transitional living home where they're basically doing life. They're going to school, going to work, whatever it is their vision of their future is, but still having that accountability and some support around that as they're taking that next step back into society.
I see. So, Theresa, obviously you're not alone. There has to be a web of people across Western Pennsylvania and beyond who are part of this, hundreds if not thousands.
You have to. You know, no one person can do this. There is so much to it to be able to provide the things that the women need, but also the financial support to the emotional support. And so we've been building a network of those people. So whether it's the actual street people, the people that are doing ministry on the streets, the law enforcement that are, you know, identifying the women, to, you know, therapists and counselors and building support staff who are in the home, to whatever that next step is. Refuge for Women isn't always going to be the answer for everyone. So, but we want to make sure that whatever they need, we can help them get to. So whether we don't do women who are pregnant, so we would refer them to someone who, you know, takes care of that, or we don't do children. So same thing. So we're building that network of support systems for whatever that need might be that woman has at the time.
Fabulous.
So having an emergency house here in Pittsburgh is a huge step forward, and it's going to require, it isn't open yet.
Correct.
But it's going to require a lot of work, as you said, with law enforcement, with police, with FBI, with you name it. And so you've already made all those relationships.
Yes. So we have been very grateful to work with the Human Trafficking Task Force here in Pittsburgh. And so they have been an integral part of helping us get the word out. One of the things that we are doing is we hold panel events every quarter that basically it's just free community awareness for anyone who can come and just learn what it looks like here in Pittsburgh. Cool. Learn from all the different people who have some kind of touch in that field. So we have law enforcement who sits on the panel. We have the FBI who sits on the panel. Some other organizations that do like drop-in centers or that street ministry, and we provide the residential housing pieces. So we bring them together and they kind of talk about what they do, and then the community can ask questions about, well, what does it look like? You know, what should I do if I see a person that I think might be being trafficked? And so we actually are holding one of those events tomorrow through the Family Links Center on 401 Highland Avenue to provide that community awareness to anyone who wants to come and just learn more about what it looks like here in the city and what you can do to make a difference.
Highland Avenue, East Liberty?
Yes.
Give the address again.
401 Highland Avenue.
What time?
At 6 p.m. tomorrow.
6 p.m. tomorrow. So that's open for anyone who has any questions.
Absolutely.
Anybody who wants to understand it, wants to see what an emergency house is, see, you know, what the sex trafficking task force looks like and how it operates. And
absolutely. Hear from there'll be a representative from Refuge who talks about the residential housing piece, like why it's different from just a homeless center, why it's different from just a women's shelter. We have someone from Pittsburgh Action Against Rape and talks about what, you know, the women that they see that come in and, you know, the different things that they've experienced here. And so just really a little bit of information from all different avenues, all different areas of it. And we tend to say, you know, everybody does a little piece of the puzzle, but we all have to come together to get the full picture. And so that's the big thing, is being able to build a collaborative of people who do something in this field of work with human trafficking, specifically sex trafficking, to be able to provide those resources for the women.
Fabulous.
And I'll have to correct it as 401 North Highland Avenue. So I don't know if that'll make a difference on your GPS, but
that's really good.
Got it. Okay, so that's coming up tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night at 6.
Yeah, 6 o'clock. Theresa Golden, she's the executive director of Refuge for Women Pittsburgh. Boy, there's a lot more we could say.
Yes.
There's a lot more we could say.
Let's do this again.
Yeah, let's do it again. There's a terrific network of people who are already set up. As soon as you get the zoning rights, then...
Well, zoning we're done with.
Okay.
Thank you, Jesus. And we're moving on to our occupancy permit. So there's a couple of different, forms we have to fill out through the city to get the occupancy permit. So we're
hopefully beginning of the year?
Early 2023,
okay.
Yes.
Terrific. Emergency house here in Pittsburgh. That's Theresa Golden. If you want to find out more information about Refuge, their website, Refuge for Women. That's FOR, refugeforwomen.org. Thanks, Theresa.
Thank you.
Nothing in this world beats real life experience. Now, of course, a lot of us have sent our kids to college. There's a lot of classroom work and theory and whatnot. But then hopefully there's a day where the rubber hits the road and your kid goes out and spreads wings and becomes part of the real life environment of what it is to earn a living.
And prior to that, the internship is what gets you ready, right? That's the time when you're like kind of in the work world, but not fully in the work world, right? And you're kind of trying to test your wings and ask the questions and
get some guidance
and maybe perform well enough that you could get somebody's attention later on and maybe get a job.
Right. Now, at Grove City College, the opportunity for internships exists, and people cement themselves inside of a corporation. And once you graduate, then, I mean, the possibilities are endless. On campus, people come to Grove City and go, we know the nature, the quality of these students. This is an A+. We're invested in these students because we see what you produce. Count us in as corporate partners.
So if that sounds interesting to you or something that might be appealing and a great thing for your child to strive for, consider Grove City College. Look them up online, gcc.edu. That's Grove City College.
Are you ready to deepen your faith on a spectacular 9-day Mediterranean cruise? Join Alistair Begg in August 2023 to renew your vision, purpose, and connection with Christ as Alistair powerfully unpacks God's Word. Explore the biblical landscapes Paul encountered as he shared the gospel along breathtaking cliffside villages. Simply call 855-565-5519 or visit deeperfaithcruise.com for all the details.
Bachman's Roofing and Solar is your local award-winning roofer. Stop waiting. It's time to inspect your roof and protect your home's #1 asset. With no interest and no payment financing for 12 months, Bachman's Roofing is your easy choice for roofing, gutters, and solar. Did you know Bachman's Roofing is one of the #1 GAF solar integrated roofing installers in the USA? Go with Bachman's. Go with solar and install the roof that pays for itself. Call 412-744-8390 or visit bachmansroofing.com.
Listen on your smart speaker at wordfm.com, the Word FM app, iHeart, TuneIn, and on Odyssey. In your car or at home, too, at 101.5 WORD FM, Pittsburgh.
As a parent, you know you can't prevent every accident. Add a mouthguard to your child's sports or recreational equipment list to help prevent the impact of a painful and costly facial injury. If your child does sustain a facial injury, seek an evaluation from an oral and maxillofacial surgeon. OMSs are experts in handling injuries to the face, mouth, and jaws. Learn more at myoms.org.
Clear skies expected for tonight with a low of 45. Sunshine will mix with a few clouds tomorrow. A nice afternoon for outdoor activities. Tomorrow's high 70. Turning cloudy tomorrow night with a low of 49. Wednesday, sunshine and areas of high clouds in the morning. Then mostly cloudy skies and breezy in the afternoon. We'll see a high of 72. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm forecaster Drew Shannon.
Does this make sense?
Does what make sense?
Hand towels in the powder room. And let me give you context for that, John. You're visiting someone's house. You walk in. May I use your restroom? Yes. You walk in. There's kind of a semi-damp hand towel.
Semi-damp? What do you mean? Whose house is this?
Well, it's somebody's house. People live there. And so they use the same towel because they're family. But you're a guest.
Yeah.
And so you walk in. You got the semi-damp hand towel. How do you feel about that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I mean, you're a guest in someone's house. I mean, the semi-damp is kind of worrying to me, to be honest.
Because it's a hand towel, and so if a lot of people are using it, chances are it's not dry.
Well, there's probably more than one hand towel for the most part, right? And generally, if it's semi-damp, someone's been in there, they just washed their hands. It's not like it's like a cauldron of bacteria that, is going to invite, some sort of thing on your head, right? No, it makes sense to me.
No, I don't think it does.
What
though,
you
John.
want? Sometimes when we entertain, my wife has like these fancy paper towels.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where are these coming from?
No, I'm a huge fan
She
of that.
puts them out there.
I'm a huge fan. Here's why. In the post-COVID era, I keep saying post because I just want it to be. I think we're beyond that. I think we need to move to a little bit of a more sanitary option than the semi-damp hand towel.
How about those towels? Like when you ever do this? Like
that's the worst.
You pull that thing down.
That cloth thing.
Oh, that's like from 1938.
Right, and that is filled with all manner of you don't know.
It's a rotisserie of bacteria.
Okay, and that's definitely worse than the semi-damp hand towel. But I don't think semi-hand towel.
Well, you're not going to walk out of your friend's house and go, "Hey, what's up with the semi-damp hand towel?" You're not going to say that.
Maybe in your head you would.
All right, maybe in your head. All right, does this make sense? Picture in picture. Now, who's using that? Do you ever do that?
Why is that even an option?
I don't know. Like, my attention is not squared away. I got a tablet, I got a laptop, I got a cell phone. Now I got screens with a screen inside of a screen. I can't pay any attention to what's going on.
What happens when you hit that accidentally and then you can't figure out how to get out of it?
I've been there.
Like, what the heck? How'd I turn this on?
What, I'm watching like Casablanca while I'm watching the Steelers.
Right.
I don't think so.
First off, choose Casablanca.
Yeah, exactly.
Second of all, and then you got the subtitles on and you're not sure how that's going on, and it's a big mess.
What do you think that was for? Like people use that? You think that's people like that?
People who have some deficit of attention or can't choose.
I don't know. Yeah, that's it. All right, so dry your hands on a paper towel.
I think you should offer a paper towel.
Get rid of the picture in picture.
Yeah.
Don't say anything to your friends about the damn hand towel.
I think maybe, what about, couldn't you say it if you were really good friends?
Friendships are fragile.
101.5 WORD.
Once I figured out, it was a little boy, then I heard his heartbeat, like I just cried. You guys helped me make my mind up.
You've heard that seeing is believing. That's certainly true when it comes to pregnancies. It's been shown that abortion-minded women who see their babies on an ultrasound are likely to have that baby. Today, you can provide a free ultrasound for a pregnant woman for just $28, the cost to save the life of a baby. So whether you want to save one or five or hundreds of babies, Word FM and Preborn are here to help. Call today, 833-850-BABY, or go to wordfm.com.
Trish heard one of our radio ads recently and gave us a yell. Ryan, she said, I keep hearing that mortgage interest rates are annoyingly up, but I'll keep it real. I'm struggling with bills, I haven't taken a vacation in years, and my back patio looks like Godzilla visited. And then, I keep hearing how much home values have gone up. Would it be wrong to pull that new cash out of my home to use for this stuff? It's Ryan from United Faith Mortgage. And yes, rates are annoyingly up. And so for some, it could be wrong to do a cash-out refinance. But for others, the recent home value rush is still a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Trish eliminated her credit card debt, turned the backyard into an oasis, and kept some money back for a vacation and rainy days. And her plan is, when these annoying rates settle back down, she'll refinance then to lower the rate. If you're curious what a cash-out refinance would look like for you,
we are United Faith Mortgage.
United Mortgage Corp, Melville, New York. NMLS number 1330. Pennsylvania Department of Banking and Securities. Mortgage lender license 22672.
Hi, this is John Hall. You've all helped build MyPillow into the incredible company it is today, and have trusted in Mike Lindell to give you a great night's sleep. On top of the special exclusively for my listeners on the Perkel and Giza Dream bed sheets, marked down as low as $29.98, Mike is now changing the game with his 3-piece towel set. The set is made with USA cotton, making it extremely absorbent, yet still providing that soft feel you look for in a towel. The set comes with 1 bath, 1 hand towel, 1 washcloth, typically retailing for $49.99. Now, for a limited time, you get this 3-piece towel set for the low price of $19.98 with a promo code WORD. Don't miss out on this incredible offer. This is a limited supply, so be sure to order now. Call 1-800-391-0954. Use the promo code WORD or go to mypillow.com. Click on the radio listener square and use promo code WORD. These offers will not last long, so order now with promo code WORD at mypillow.com for this radio exclusive offer on all bed sheets.
Trip to Europe. Visit all 30 Major League Baseball stadiums. Go skydiving. Okay, so you know what you want to do in retirement, but do you know how to get there? Tune into Your Retirement Blueprint with Kurt Kenodik and Ethan Lane of Accurate Solutions Group, Saturdays at 10 a.m. to get answers to your retirement planning questions. Plan today so you can do the things you've always dreamt about doing in retirement. Listen every Saturday morning at 10 to Your Retirement Blueprint with Accurate Solutions Group. Investment advisory services offered through ASG Investment Management, LLC.
just when you thought you've heard everything, something else comes your way. So there is a company, and they provide a very unique service. The company is it's an Ohio company called Save My Ink Forever.
All right.
They are a pioneer in preserving your loved ones who have recently passed away, taking their flesh where there are tattoos and putting them on a frame. Here's the deal. Laws in most states allow mourners to remove and preserve the flesh where the tattoos are attached as memorial works of art.
Now, wait a minute. Wait, I need to back up. You're saying if a loved one passes away,
and they have a tattoo,
then this
company will send the funeral home a kit. And the company says it is very simple to do. You're peeling someone's skin off. And then the funeral home sends the flesh with a tattoo on it to this company, where then they do this process and they preserve the flesh with a tattoo on it, and then they mount it inside of a mat, and then they put the mat underneath the frame, preserved with good glass, museum quality glass, so the UV rays don't affect that, and then you hang it on the wall.
It's the end of civilization.
I mean, this is a front page article in today's paper. Someone says, we have his ashes, but with that you don't see a physical part of him. But with the tattoo you can. It's nice to have a little piece of him.
This is in the New York Times. If you'd like to read the entire story, you can find it there. There's a photograph of a young man and woman holding these framed
pieces of flesh,
vestiges of loved ones.
A record 3 in 10 Americans have at least one tattoo, according to a 2020 poll, with the popularity of permanent ink continuing to grow among young people. So the idea of keeping a beloved relative's tattooed skin and hanging it on the wall may be hard for some to imagine, but families who have worked with the company says it brings comfort and emphasizes that a person's tattoos often carry great meaning. Now,
are you kidding?
There's people, they talk to multiple people. A young man whose brother was killed in a boating accident, they did it. It's another person whose husband died of cirrhosis of the liver, she did it. She says she was stunned at the suggestion. I thought that it was morbid and thought that it wasn't even possible. How could you cut something off of someone, she says. Her daughters explained to their mother that their father was on board and that they had found Save My Ink Forever. They asked her to imagine how special it would be to have the black and white skull tattoo that has a ribbon with their names on it framed and preserved for years to come. She reluctantly agreed. Now she says she couldn't be more grateful that she listened to her daughters as the frame, which hangs in her living room, continues to connect her to her husband.
So wrong. I mean, it's not that I am not acknowledging their grief. That is one step too far. That's just wrong.
Yep.
Does that seem wrong to you?
Yeah, tremendously. Yeah.
Well, could that lead to other body parts?
Well, I hadn't thought of that.
You probably could, right?
Why don't you preserve their head? I don't mean to be crass, but
right. I mean,
you want a piece of their actual body.
What about if I left? You guys could split one of my fingers.
Yep. No thanks. Each tattoo is sewn to the canvas, and the frame is pumped with nitrogen to help keep it pristinely preserved as museum-grade UV blocking glass is inserted into place. In order to have the materials to perfect the science, they came up with the idea to pay for people's tummy tuck procedures, which removes the skin and fat, to practice. On the disartist.
Well, it's also morbid, but what if you just take a picture of the tattoo and make that into a wall hanging?
Yeah, that seems to be a lot less...
Rather than the actual skin,
morbid.
The flesh.
Right. Or we could also enlarge the focus and say if you have lost a lot of weight and you're getting a tummy tuck, why don't we preserve that flesh and you could frame that just as a memory of where you were?
The mortician recalled the case of one man who had a tattoo with both of his daughters' names in a heart. The family contemplated whether to save the tattoo, but the mortician suggested cutting it in half in the style of a friendship necklace so each daughter would have a piece of their father with them.
Oh, my God.
Now, in the 18th century, they used to take hair, a lock of hair.
Sure.
Yes.
Turn it into jewelry.
I have my great-grandmother's hair.
Yeah.
In a brooch, which I would never wear because I think that's so weird. But I also can't throw it away.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. I don't know. It's just the age that we live in, guys. Right?
That's super weird. That's super duper weird. Okay. Check this out. No, this is nothing like that. This is actually, would I call that bad news? I'm not sure.
For some people would love it.
Okay. All right. Here's another article from today's New York Times that there's a new study, John, that strengthens the link between exercise and memory. Okay. No secret that regular exercise has many benefits. It helps with diabetes. It helps with high blood pressure. It helps with weight, all those sorts of things. It can improve your mental health. However, studies over the years have suggested that a single workout can improve recall and that exchanging and engaging in regular exercise over the course of years or decades not only improves memory, but also helps fortify against future memory problems. Okay, so it goes on and talks about the studies that were done. One of the major challenges with studying the link is that changes are kind of hard to measure because different people do different sets of workouts. And different memories are different. You remembering song lyrics is different than you remembering what your mom said 20 years ago, which is different than you remembering where your keys are.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? They're very different parts. Okay. Anyway, so there are a lot more issues than they can really. So there's not one story, is what I'm saying. But
no, because how many athletes have suffered cognitive impairment because of what's happened to them.
For sure. Okay, now listen to this. Participants who regularly exercised in light to moderate activity, such as going for regular walks, had better episodic memory, which they call mental time travel, or the ability to remember details about everyday events, like meeting somebody in a coffee shop, whatever you did in kindergarten, Jeffrey Chico.
I have a good memory like that.
You have an actually disturbingly good memory for that. Participants who regularly exercised more intensely, such as going for a run or doing a HIIT workout, high intensity workout, were more likely to perform better on spatial memory tasks, which is the ability to remember physical relationships between objects or locations in space, like where you put your keys. This mirrors a number of other studies that show high intensity exercise improves memory, but going further, suggesting it might be more helpful for this type of memory over that other type of memory.
That's good to
hear. Okay.
Right.
So there's a lot more that has to be done, but they're saying that both types of exercise are very important. And if you could do both of them, then you'd be in pretty good shape. You'd be really fortifying yourself against future cognitive decline.
All right. I appreciate that. Right?
What do you think?
I think any exercise is never wasted. Right?
Yeah,
its benefits are clear for many other different bodily functions, whether it's memory or heart or lungs or whatever. It's just good to get out there.
Right. Now, the New York Times concludes the article by saying that maybe someday there will be a workout to finally help you remember where you put your keys.
Now there's a tag. Do you have a tag?
I don't have that tag, but you have that tag, right?
Yeah. I like it.
I don't usually lose my keys. I often lose my phone.
I have I've used this several times. Hey Siri, where's my phone? And the little phone goes, and you find it. There it is.
Because you have an Apple Watch. I'll tell you the thing I lose more than anything is that remote.
The TV remote.
Do you?
No.
You never lose that?
No. No, I'm not losing that. I know exactly where because I've got about 9 remotes. I got remotes for the stereo,
and
receiver.
It never falls behind or in it.
The only time is what happens and when my kids are at home, and then wanders somewhere. I know where it is. That's the dad's job.
Jeez.
Keep the remote
That's what
close
the dad's
by.
supposed to do. My husband doesn't even know how to work the remote.
What?
Nope, doesn't even know.
What? He doesn't watch TV.
He doesn't care.
He's better than we are.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Celebrate fall during Community Market Days at Bedner's Farm and Greenhouse. Every Saturday from 11 to 3, Bedner's has plenty to enjoy, including local goods and vendors, a food truck, live music, wine tastings, cooking and gardening workshops, DIY and kids activities, plus everything you need for your fall gardening and decor, with fresh-cut pumpkins, gourds, corn stalks, mums, and lots more. Community Market Days, every Saturday at Bedner's Farm and Greenhouse in McDonald. Visit bednersgreenhouse.com. Train up a child in the way they should go. Well, you know the rest. It's a calling you take very seriously as a Christian parent. And Trinity Christian School in Forest Hills seeks to honor your commitment by working together with parents to prepare students who are academically sound and spiritually ready to take their place in the world through a classical approach to education that helps build a faith from which they will never depart. Trinity Christian School, one of the top K-12 schools in Allegheny County, at trinitychristian.net.
All of us come from somewhere. All of us have origin stories.
From executive producer Larry Elder.
Divine Providence was clearly operating in the lives of Black Americans.
And director Justin Malone.
When I was growing up, we were never taught that America was bad. We were raised to love America.
Comes the continuation of their 2020 hit film, Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom Part 2, An American Odyssey. Available on Salem now.
Want to save big on new blinds? Blindster.com offers custom-made blind shades and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order. Just use code RADIO. Offer ends soon. Shop today. Blindster.com.
Ask Alexa to play the word Pittsburgh to hear us there. We're on your Google speaker too, plus iHeart, TuneIn, and on Odyssey. 101.5 WORD FM, Pittsburgh.
Pumpkin spice is a word that has achieved shocking levels of prominence.
Pumpkin spice meatloaf.
In America.
I saw that today.
Motor oil.
Pumpkin spice motor oil.
Mm-hmm. Pumpkin spice, whatever. You can get the little Christmas trees for your car that are pumpkin spice. Of course, there are about 1,000 options for candles.
Right.
You can make your own pumpkin spice thing to put in your diffuser.
It's
whatever.
overrated.
It is
It's overrated.
But I'm telling you that it's one of the new entries in the Merriam-Webster dictionary.
A new word.
Yes.
Pumpkin hyphen spice?
Nope. Two words. Okay. So it's a term. Now, John, we talked about this when you were away on vacation, but I just saw another article come up yesterday, and so I thought, you know what, I should bring it up with you. Shrinkflation.
Oh, that's a good word.
Adorkable.
Adorkable. Oh, that's an interesting word.
Subvariant.
Yeah, you hear that a lot. Sure, of course.
And yeet.
Yeet? What's yeet?
Yeet. You haven't seen that on social media?
No.
It's kind of like wow or...
Oh, I'm not seeing it. Is that a meme?
It's not. No, it's a meme. I'm sure there are memes that include the word yeet. But anyway, also, ICYMI. ICYMI.
ICY? I see what? What's it stand for?
ICYMI.
I see.
In case you missed it.
Okay.
I looked at it and I thought, what is it again? Yeah, in case you missed it. Yeah, there's 5 of 370 words and phrases that Merriam-Webster has added to its dictionary.
Ooh, that's a lot of words.
Yes, yeah. Right. So ICYMI, in case you missed it, is one of those words. Mm-hmm. Now, Peter Sokolowski, who works for Merriam-Webster, said some of these words will amuse or inspire. Mm-hmm. Others may provoke debate, but our job is to capture the language as it is used. Okay, here's my thing. I get shrinkflation, though it does seem very new to be going into the dictionary.
That's
already.
What I think too. Maybe it's based upon usage. Yeet. What's yeet?
Well, yeet is just something a lot of people say. And
yeet. I've never heard anybody say.
Really? You never have?
No, never. Okay, so do they kick words out? Because as they add yeet, who's going to use yeet? 5 years from now, they go, we're no longer using that word.
Nothing in the article, in the news release from Merriam-Webster that said that they were.
You would think that they would lose words.
Do you feel like shrinkflation is a little too early to be added in?
Well, it's probably been part of the vernacular for a while. It's just become more used now.
Well, yeah, but I never even heard about it until the last 6 months. People like your Snicker bar being smaller, but being charged the same amount.
But you've seen it happen in the past, haven't you? It's not just
recent. I don't think I have.
No, I've seen it happen in the past.
Okay. All right, pumpkin spice has been around for a long time.
Forever.
I kind of see that. Okay, adorkable is a word I want you to know I've never heard of until I read this article 3 weeks ago when you were on vacation, or a similar article. I'd never heard of the mashup of dorky and adorable. It means socially awkward or quirky in a way that is endearing.
Who's using that
You're so
word?
Adorkable. Doesn't that seem like
it
also
like
a little bit of a jump?
It really does.
Okay. I am surprised that you haven't come across yeet.
I do not.
Gary, no. Yeet?
Yeet?
Never heard it.
Never. I mean, like yeet yet.
No.
I get that.
Used to express surprise, approval, or excited enthusiasm, or as a verb to mean to throw, especially with force and without regard for the thing being thrown. Okay.
I'll tell you, in between, finding out about the flesh tattoos in a frame and yeet, this show's rocked my world.
There's also a verb to MacGyver something.
MacGyver?
Yeah,
that's in the dictionary?
I like that. To be able to make or repair just about anything with ordinary items.
I guess if Shakespeare was alive today, he would be using yeet, perhaps, in a play, right?
I think he might, or he'd be able to MacGyver some words together to put the perfect conclusion.
But 10 years from now, no one's going to really know. What's MacGyver? Who's MacGyver? Do your kids know MacGyver?
Oh, sure.
You think?
Do your kids not know MacGyver?
Yeet.
The Ride Home with John and Kathy, a production of Salem Media Group.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. Pollsters who touted a Democratic comeback over the summer are now conceding this year's elections look